Hello! Welcome to Family Art Club. My name's Jenny. In case you don't know, I work here at the museum, and I have a really fun project today. So, if you've been watching Family Art Club for the last, several months, you know that I love Play-Doh. I love how squishy and soft it is. I love making my own Play-Doh. I've got a video from several months ago where I made Play-Doh on my stovetop and added lavender essential oil, so it was like aromatherapy Play-Doh. I have a project where we use Play-Doh as the basis of a Small Worlds sculptural project. I think Play-Doh is one of the best tools that we have for sensory exploration. There's just so many things you can add to it. And so today we are making dough stamps. We're gonna make stamps, two different kinds of stamps that we can use to press into our dough for hours of fun art making activity from here on out. So the first thing we're gonna make is a actual stamp out of a different kind of dough. I love doughs. What can I say? So we're gonna be making a salt dough that we're gonna go bake into the oven and create a really hard stamp that we can keep and use for for a long time. I'm not sure exactly how long they last. They last a long time because they get really hard. And so my favorite recipe for salt dough is a really simple one. It is 1:1:1. So I am gonna use about 1 cup of regular flour. This is just all-purpose flour, nothing fancy. 1 cup of salt. This is kosher salt because that's what I had, but iodized or just plain table salt would work 100% a-okay. And about a cup of liquid, but depending on how humid or moist the air is, you may need more, you may need less. So to begin, I'm gonna start with my flour. This is a great activity to do with kids because who doesn't love mixing up dough? And unlike my favorite Play-Doh recipe, it doesn't involve a stove until you're ready to bake. And then I'm gonna add my salt. So as you can tell, the ingredients on this dough are 100% taste safe. So you're not gonna get sick by taking a bite, but it will not taste good. So, and now I'm gonna start by adding probably half of my water. And I'm gonna mix it up. Hi everyone. Remember how I said don't add too much water? I added too much water, and it's fine. It's gonna be a-okay, because guess what we're gonna do? We're just gonna make more salt dough. Sometimes it happens, and that's okay. Okay, at this point, I'm going to stop using my spoon because I've got a pretty good kind of dough consistency, but it's not quite to Play-Doh stage yet. So, to make a stamp, I'm gonna put these trusty guys away. Thank you for coming to my rescue, Mr. Flour and Miss Salt. You did a great job. Well done. Now I'm going to, at this point, you can kind of start portioning off your Play-Doh to make like a ball. So if you wanted to make some stamps, I'm going to make first roll my dough into little balls. So I went around our studio and I found some really fun things that make cool textures. So I found an old comb. I found the head of like a honeycomb, a honey dispenser. It used to have a handle here and it got broken off, so now it's just the ridgy part. Found a fork. I've got a paper straw, a couple different sizes of dowel rod, some 2 different sizes of popsicle sticks. I found this kind of interesting textured rubber mat. And I have this dowel rod that's pointy on the end like a pencil. So there's a couple different ways you can make a stamp out of this dough. The first is by drawing or indenting my surface with different textures. And you can have it, I mean, my dough is warm, so it's kind of gushy. And I'm gonna leave these to set up before I actually put them in the oven. I'm gonna let them dry out a little bit. If you wanna let your dough dry a little bit to make it a little more pliable or like sturdy when you're making your stamps, you can do that too. But then also you can take your pencil, or I have this dowel rod that looks like a pencil, and I can draw right into it like a house. And so then that will make different kinds of stamps when we bake it in the oven and when you press it into your Play-Doh. So once you have used all of your Play-Doh or all of your salt dough to build your stamps, then you can let them air dry for a little bit just to help them set up a little bit, and then put them in an oven at 200 degrees or so for about 3 hours, or until they're totally dried out. So you can just put them right on a baking sheet when you're home for the afternoon, keep checking on them, and you're basically just kind of cooking the water that's in the dough out, so it becomes a very hard surface. And then you have these stamps that you can use over and over again into your Play-Doh. But I'm gonna kind of put this to the side and make a new different kind of stamp. So for this stamp, you need cardboard and either a hot glue gun or regular glue. So this is really simple. With your kiddo, if you're using a hot glue gun and you don't want to have your kiddo use a hot glue gun because they're not ready for that yet, you can totally also use a pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my nifty cutter that I used a couple weeks ago. So nifty. It's more nifty when it works. There we go. And, okay. So now I've got a couple pieces of really strong cardboard. So if you have a little one and they're not using a hot glue gun yet, you can hand them a pencil or some kind of writing utensil, and they can draw directly onto the cardboard what they want their stamp to be. So they might draw a house on one, a tree on another, or what have you. They could just do textures. And then a trusted adult or older sibling can trace their designs that they've drawn onto they've already drawn it onto the cardboard, and you can trace it onto the cardboard with the hot glue. So I'm gonna kind of freehand this and I want it to be, I'm doing really thick lines. And then I'm gonna do one. Here, let me cut this in half because I don't want it to be a super giant one. But I'm gonna do one that's just different textures or patterns. So I'm gonna do scallops on one because then I can make a fish and make fish scales on my Play-Doh sculpture. So, if you don't have homemade dough, you can use any of your regular dough that you might have at your house. This is a really bright orange that is now orange speckled with white salt dough. And I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna spread it out where I think my house will go on here. My house is dry now. I'm gonna squish it. You could go after it with a rolling pin if you wanted to. So I've got a basic outline of a house. And I could do that over and over and make a whole neighborhood. Or I could go in with my texture tools and add little lines that make it look like grass. If I had one that looked like a sun, I could add, here I might just use just the flower part of mine instead of the stem too. That makes kind of a fun squiggly sun. Oh, I love that squiggly sun. I don't know, can you see it? Can you see that squiggly sun? I mentioned this earlier, but if you don't have a hot glue gun, you can totally use like a tacky glue or something with a little more body to it and squish it on my cardboard. You just want to make sure that you leave it to dry until it's totally dry. I like hot glue because it dries really fast, but you know, use what you have. So that's it. I'll see you next time. Have a great couple weeks, and I look forward to making with you guys again soon.